Football fans, welcome into Trailblazer Game Day. Devin Dixon, Caden Formaster, and Caden, football is back, baby. Utah Tech hosting UC Davis in the season opener.
Football's back. Let's get on into it. I'm excited, man. We've got a season opener. It's always nice when you start the season right here at home and at Greater Zion Stadium. So it's going to be exciting to be able to go pack Greater Zion Stadium tonight against UC Davis in a late one, 8 o'clock kickoff here tonight.
Yeah, 8 o'clock kickoff. Should be nice and cool. It's going to be just a beautiful night for football to wrap up the Saturday night slate of games across the state. Everybody in the state playing today. Utah, BYU, Utah State, Weber State and James Madison. That's going to be a fun matchup. SUU's got a game just getting going right now against Idaho State, who nearly beat UNLV last week. So going to be fun to see how the opening weekend plays out. But all our attention is on this one here on Trailblazer Game Day. UC Davis did play last week, Caden. Got all the way to the fourth quarter. Kind of squandered it. At one point, they had a 20-7 lead. Squandered that. It was 23-16 or 23-17. 6-point game with about 7 minutes and 46 seconds left in the game, and the lightning strike started coming. They waited over 2 hours to try to resume that game. Couldn't continue, so they called it a no contest. Kind of a bummer. They were leading.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. And especially, I mean, when you look back at a season, right, and you look at that game, you're like, man, what could have been? We would like to have another win in the win category, right, in the win column. But, player safety. I get it. It makes sense that you're not going to force them to go out and try to finish that game, especially with the kind of storm that was blown through. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but it did give us a taste. It gave us a taste to see what this UC Davis team looks like and what we can expect coming in to the game tonight against Utah Tech.
Rex Connors, Pleasant Grove kid. Him and his brother both played for UC Davis. 12 tackles before that game got called a no contest. Those stats won't count, but he did have 12 tackles through 3.5 quarters. Also, Caden Pinnock, redshirt freshman. This kid's slippery, Caden. Dual threat guy. Watched a lot of him in this game against Mercer. Mercer was number 11. UC Davis as high as number 7 in the FCS poll. And he was 13 of 24, 141 passing, 1 passing touchdown, added 62 more yards on the ground, and another rushing touchdown. It's going to be hard to bottle him up if you're Utah Tech. That's got to be priority 1 tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a big part of it is, in this offense, from what we saw last week in that no contest game, the offense is pretty elusive. They're pretty good. I mean, they've got some good receivers. They got a good quarterback. So UC Davis has a lot going for them on the offensive side. I mean, Utah Tech defense is definitely going to have to step up here.
Yeah, they're going to also have to slow down Jordan Fisher. He had a rushing touchdown. He had a blocked punt that resulted in a safety. He wears number 20. You'll see him all over the field tonight for the Aggies. He had 84 yards rushing when the game stopped. So he was probably going to get that century mark if that game would have finished. But again, really, really good, talented running back. And they got a lot of playmakers. UC Davis is very talented. Carter Vargas scored a rushing touchdown. He's slippery. They use him in the run game and in the passing game. There's a number of other guys that you're going to see. So huge test for the defense. The good news for Utah Tech, Caden, is all the reports and all the practices, the 1 second scrimmage that I did go watch, Utah's defense has kind of shined through fall camp. They've looked really good, but this is still a tall order tonight against a top-ranked team.
It is. It's definitely going to be tough. And if you look back at last year compared to this year, the defense at times really did struggle last year. So that's something that they really put a lot of work into, is making sure that the defense is ready to go. There's a good amount of guys that are also coming back from last year, and that'll be helpful. And that goes for both offense and defense, right? So one of the issues we've seen in college football, and this is something that Utah Tech is not alone in, is that the transfer portal's tough, right? You've got a lot of guys in the transfer portal right now, especially at the FCS level, where if you're decent at a school like Utah Tech, there's a good probability that a bigger school is going to see you and say, hey, we want you to come play for us. Maybe you make a little more NIL money, And so it can be really hard to return some good players. Utah Tech was able to keep a lot of decent players around from last year, and that's been a major struggle with FCS football.
It's a really good point you make, though, because your top players are going to get plucked from you, and you have to be okay with that. You don't have to use that as a recruiting tool. Come here, get some film, get a chance to start right away, and look, if you're good enough and your stats are good enough, you get to move on. Good for you. There is 51 newcomers to this team. Now, new starting quarterback this year compared to last year. Bronson Barban, local kid, Dixie High School, is going to get the nod as the starter. There's an or and then Reggie Graff. So we think Reggie Graff's going to play. There's going to be some packages for him. That's not a shocker. He was probably the most durable guy and the most consistent guy, and he's the best running quarterback of the quarterbacks. Deacon Hill is unavailable, will not go tonight. Skylar Castle will be the number 3 quarterback tonight, the kid out of Yakima, Washington. But your thoughts on Bronson Barban? He did play 4 games last year, did some nice things. He's got big-time talent, big-time upside.
He does. So Bronson, to me, and this just is from just the eye test, right? From what I've seen of these quarterbacks, and I've gone to some practice. I've seen a little bit of what they can do, and we saw a lot of Reggie last year. We did see a little bit of Bronson. Bronson's a traditional quarterback, right? He's your guy that's out there where he's standing at 6'4" tall. Like he's a tall quarterback. He can look over that line. He has a beautiful spiral. I mean, he has a good looking throw to his ball, right? He's gonna be more of your pocket passer kind of guy. Then you look at Reggie. Reggie's gonna be shifty. Reggie's not afraid to run the ball. And last year they actually started off with Reggie being basically a package quarterback to say, hey, take direct snaps and run it. Basically throw you in as a wildcat formation kind of guy.
And they did that. If you go back to the Montana State season opener, they got all the way down in the red zone. Here came Reggie Graff. It wasn't long. He was in on the very first offensive drive of the game. So how soon does he get in the game? When do they use him? Not sure, but we do think Reggie Graff's going to see some snaps in this one, but it will be Bronson Barban to get the start. And obviously, a lot of people around town know what he did at the high school level, went on a mission. Now he's back 4 games last year before they shut him down, keep the redshirt year there, did put up some stats, gained some experience. So I think a lot of people are going to be watching the quarterback comparison between these two guys because this redshirt freshman that they've got for UC Davis is very, very talented. Remember the name Caden Pinnock, 6 foot, 200-pounder. And I mean, you could look at the linebackers, you look at the running backs, receivers. Everybody has an impact on the game. But if you really want to spotlight these two quarterbacks, you can in this game because the one that plays the best is probably going to put their team in the best position to win.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, and that's going to be a big part of it is you got Caden Pinnock on one side, Bronson Barban on the other side. The quarterback battle is going to be interesting, right? Because it's also 2 really young quarterbacks. You got the redshirt freshman. And yeah, Bronson, maybe age-wise, looks like he's an older quarterback. He did go on a mission, served a couple years, right? Came back last year as his freshman season. So age-wise might look a little older on paper, but when it comes to how much time he spent on a football field, he's still one of the young bucks in college football.
Man, if you haven't seen Bronson, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with his moxie. I'm sure he's going to have some butterflies getting out there, starting the season opener at home in front of the crowd. But I think he'll do just fine. He's got some good running backs. We'll see a lot of Asa Chapman. We'll see Chris Street. We might see some Kona Crowell, maybe even a little bit of Bretton Stone. Pretty deep running back core for Utah Tech. Receivers might be their deepest position. And, I don't think Deshaun Harrison, the UConn transfer, is going to be anything more than a game-time decision tonight. In fact, he's probably doubtful tonight. So that's going to open up Daniel Thomason and Josh Rios and True Tanner and Talik Brown and Eric Olson. Also, they're going to use him a lot in the passing game from that tight end position. He's back at his normal position. In fact, we caught up with Eric Olson from Desert Hills, now making plays for Utah Tech. Love to see the hometown kids do really well and stay in town and play collegially. And we caught up with Jay Sweeten. So we'll have our player spotlights. We'll talk to Eric and the offense, Jay Sweeten and the defense when Trailblazer Game Day continues right after this quick break.
back at it with Trailblazer Game Day here at the Fan Sports Network crew. Caden Formaster and Devin Dixon. And Devin caught up with a couple of local players that are now playing for Utah Tech Trailblazer football. One of those being Eric Olson from Desert Hills High School and Jay Sweeten from Crimson Cliffs High School. Let's send it out to Devin earlier this week.
Season opening preparations underway, and joining us here, Eric Olson.
Yes,
Local
sir.
product, Desert Hills High School,
Yes, sir.
but now kind of a veteran here for Utah Tech, man. Hey, bring our listeners, bring our viewers up to speed. Tell us how fall camp's kind of wrapping up this week, getting ready for UC Davis.
Fall camp's been great. I mean, if people would have come and seen the progress that we've made since day one to now, it's a completely different team. I think we're ready. I think we're ready for whatever they got to throw at us, and I think we're going to come to play on Saturday.
51 newcomers, Eric, a lot of newcomers. Rebuilding that chemistry, that rapport. How's that coming along? Do you feel like you guys are further ahead in fall camp compared to last season?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The chemistry this year compared to last year it's unmatched. I mean, just what I can feel with the guys, and I think what a lot of other guys would agree with. I think we've come a lot closer as a team. I think we all fight hard every day and we compete hard every day.
Looks like Bronson Barbin, Reggie Graff getting most of the snaps. It's going to be probably Bronson to start, and then Reggie's going to have some packages. Does that affect your job at all? Because you know those guys pretty well at this point in time.
No, it doesn't affect my job at all. It doesn't matter who's back there. I'm going to go out, I'm going to get my job done, and if they want to throw me the ball, they're going to throw me the ball.
What's been the emphasis for you personally in the offseason? You look bigger, faster, stronger.
For me, my emphasis was obviously bigger, faster, stronger, put on some size to compete with the DNs, but my emphasis mostly was on the run game, blocking, getting more physical, getting down in the trenches. So, yeah, that's been my big emphasis in the offseason.
What have you seen from the offensive line? Give our listeners a little taste of that. Looks like the guys up front are doing a good job so far in camp.
No, they've been doing awesome. They have come so far, and they keep kicking butt every single day, and it's awesome to be a part of that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like our wide receiver core may be the deepest position of any unit here at Utah Tech. Do you feel like that's pretty close to accurate?
Yeah, we got a lot of guys in the wide receiver room. We got a lot of guys with experience. We got a lot of new guys, but all of them are gamers.
Talk to me about just the excitement. I mean, you went through spring, all summer, all the workouts, all the fall camp, almost in the books, and here we go, home opener.
Oh man, I'm just excited to line up against someone that's not in a red jersey. To be honest, I mean, we get to go against someone new. We get to go compete with someone new, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Let's get to know Eric Olson a little bit. When you're not thinking football, you're not in the film room, you're not at the practice field or in the weight room, what does Eric Olson like to do when he has a little bit of spare time?
I love to get outdoors. I love to do anything like that, go hang out with my friends. I have a fiance at home, so we go hang out, go do whatever. It's been a lot of
outdoors,
fun.
is that hunting, fishing, boating kind of thing?
It's all the above. It's all the above. Hiking, fishing. I love to fly fish, go up to Pine Valley. So it's been a lot of fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Has the date been set?
May.
Get through the season and deal with that after spring football.
Oh, yeah. Season first.
I love it.
Season first.
I love it. You got time for that. Well, congratulations on that. How many married guys are on the team? Do you have any idea? A handful.
A lot.
A lot?
A few.
Maybe not as many as at the Y.
No, not even close.
Eric, great to chat with you. Good luck. Can't wait to see you line it up and go get them on Saturday night against UC Davis.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Jay Sweeten, home opener, UC Davis. How we feeling, bud?
Good. We're getting ready. They got a good offense. Their coaches are good. We've been working on our craft, and we'll be prepared.
Of course, local product. You played safety in high school over at Crimson Cliffs, but now you're playing that outside linebacker position. Seems like it's been a really smooth transition for you, but take me through that.
Inside linebacker.
Inside linebacker.
But it's been cool. Last year was a little wake-up call. All right, I gotta be bigger. I'm not no safety anymore. I gotta work on playing with the big boys down there with the O-line. But it's been good getting bigger, stronger, faster during the summer, just to prepare me for these moments like Saturday.
Do you feel like this fall camp's been a lot smoother from your perspective than last year's fall camp?
Yes, it's been a lot smoother, just having a year under my belt, understanding the plays, being able to help the other guys, the new guys, just all of us being able to help each other. It's been good.
Talk to me a little bit about UC Davis' offense. You said they're pretty good. You saw 3.5 quarters of those guys. What problem do they present that you guys will have to be on top of Saturday night?
A lot of mind control. You got to have good eyes. They do a lot of motions. Just got to be ready with all those polars, the boots. Quarterback's a good kid, he's a redshirt freshman, but we just got to have good eyes.
When Jay Sweeten's not playing football, not in the film room, not in the weight room, what do you like to do outside of football?
I'm a fisherman. I will go fishing any chance I get.
Okay. What'd you catch? Biggest fish you caught this summer?
Oh, probably a tiger trout.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want to give up your spot, probably. Keep that under wraps.
Yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep it down low.
You kind of come from a football family. Your dad's a longtime coach, man. Does football ever shut off, or are you always talking football?
We're always talking football. I got a younger brother right now. He's in 8th grade. He's playing football. It's just always football. We're always watching football. It's just football's in the family.
Through most of fall camp, especially through that first scrimmage, the defense was a lot further ahead than offense. In fact, I don't think the offense scored much in that first scrimmage. Then the second scrimmage, it was a lot more even. Does that mean that the defense is going to be really stout this year and the offense is coming along from your perspective?
Yeah, I think the offense, going against each other all camp long was great. Good on good, iron sharpens iron. It was great. The offense was able to pick it up on that second scrimmage, and we were able to see what they could do. It was good for us.
You're probably one of the only guys on the defense side of the ball that saw a little bit of Bronson Barbin in high school. Right?
Yeah, sophomore year.
Sophomore year, his senior year.
Yeah.
You guys matched up a little bit together. What's it like seeing him over there on your team now?
Oh, it's great. He's a great quarterback. It's nice to have him on our side this time.
You still keep an eye on Crimson Cliffs and
yeah.
Keep an eye on the old boys?
I like to see what they can do. I like to see what they got this year. They got a win against Provo. That was awesome. It was a good game.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I was there. The last 2 games that I've done at Crimson have been simply fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it back to this game, UC Davis. Butterflies for you at all, or is it just excitement to get the season underway?
It's both. You got to have nerves. You got to be ready. You can't come into this with, we're gonna kick butt. We got to stay humble and just do what we do best.
You feel like the backer position is as talented a backer position as you've seen here at Utah Tech?
I feel like we got some talent. We got Logan Peely, Helaman, Moy, Dalen, Adrian, Lala. We got a bunch of good guys. We'll be good.
Should be fun. Jason, the rest of the backers ready to go against the Aggies. Jace, good luck out there. Have a safe season and a successful season. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
That was fun. Fun to catch up with some local guys that stayed here and are playing at the collegiate level, and they're both expected to be big-time contributors for Coach Lance Anderson and the Trailblazers this year. And there's, I think, 13 total former Region 9 kids that played in Washington County or Iron County. They're now on this Trailblazer roster. So there's quite a few, and you're going to see at least 5 or 6 probably have a big impact, including the 2 we just talked to on the game tonight. Caden, it's always fun to keep tabs on these kids, even when they go elsewhere and play, at universities all over the country. It's always fun to see local kids go out, live the dream, play collegially, and make an impact for their respective teams. But it's a little bit funner when they stay right here in our backyard.
It's really fun to see them just stay right here in the backyard, right? We like seeing these players that come here to Utah Tech University because, for us, where we get to cover both high school and Utah Tech football, it's nice to be able to see, with firsthand experience what it's like for these guys as they move on to the next level. No, don't get me wrong. It's also great to see some of these guys that are going up to play some FBS football as well. That's always exciting, but we like it when they stay here.
And if we're looking for a fishing guide, I think we could have Jace and Eric take us out fishing. We probably catch some big fish, it sounds
there you
like.
go. I think that's the plan.
Hey, we're getting closer to kickoff. We'll come back. We'll get you closer to UC Davis at Utah Tech. 8 o'clock kickoff. We're going to be going out to Rod Zundel and Max Christensen here in a little bit for more of the pregame show. But one more segment, getting you ready here on Trailblazer Game Day from the Fan Sports Network studios. Labor Day weekend. Everybody, hope you got big plans, hopefully including the football game tonight. Welcome back. Trailblazer Game Day. Devin Dixon, Caden Formaster. If you're listening right now, still got time to get down here. Tickets still available for the home opener. What a way to cap off a great Saturday with a football game here. 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. By the way, we haven't talked a lot about the schedule. Let's take a look at that, Caden. This is an interesting schedule for Utah Tech. A lot of really tough opponents at the FCS level, but no FBS teams on this year's schedule for Utah Tech.
No, yeah. As we're taking a look on this schedule, you look at anything that's outside of the UAC, and it's these first 4 games of the season that are going to be non-conference games, right? But every single one of those teams are FCS opponents. You look at Idaho, and you're like, all right, you got at least a former FBS there. So that's about as close as you're going to get as Idaho. But outside of that, here's the thing. Every single one of those schools has played some really good football in recent history. This Northern Arizona game is fun because this is becoming a bit of a rivalry. I know that their athletics department is really pushing for a little more of a relationship with Utah Tech, considering we're one of the closest schools geographically to them, even though currently not in the same conference.
The other thing that stands out, those first 4 games, all against Big Sky opponents. And, of course, this will be the final year in the UAC before Utah Tech and SUU go to the Big Sky Conference. That'll officially happen next summer, and they'll be playing a Big Sky Conference schedule. So you got a nice preseason barometer of how you stack up against some of those in-conference teams next year.
Absolutely. So that's going to be a good look for that. Really a convenient schedule in that aspect of it for sure. One of the things also that I notice is it's kind of a good split between home and away, but it's a lot of road trips for a few weeks, home for a few weeks. You're not going back and forth and back and forth. You look at that stretch there in the middle, Tarleton State, Southern Utah, North Alabama, a good long home stretch right in the smack dab middle of conference play. Yeah,
nice to have the rivalry game, the feud on 15, as I like to call it, the battle for the axe, SUU coming down the freeway, the I-15 corridor, and they'll be at Greater Zion Stadium. That's one I would not want to miss. I know SUU's got high expectations this year, and Delane Fitzgerald's got a lot of kids that he's recruited that are now seniors, and we'll see. They were picked 4th in the conference in the coaches' preseason poll. I don't know how much stock I put in that, though. Tarleton, of course, was picked at the top of the conference. We'll see how that plays out. Until we get into that slate and we start playing conference games, I can guarantee you one thing, Caden. The way the coaches predicted it, will not be the way that it will finish.
No, it never is.
No disrespect to the coaches, but it never is.
It never is. Yeah. No, and that's the thing is sometimes you just have certain teams where you just you overperform, you underperform, whatever it is, right? And so that's just kind of how it goes sometimes in college football.
As a look at the schedule, make plans to get to as many Trailblazer football games as you can this season starting tonight. We've got a lot of fun things coming up with Rod and Max, but let's get some final thoughts here. Maybe some keys. What do you think is going to be instrumental for Coach Anderson and the Trailblazers if they're going to pull off, let's be honest, an upset? They are going to be home dogs. This is the 7th ranked team in the FCS and UC Davis.
I think a big part of it's going to be defense, right? I think that the defense really needs to step up in making sure that they're helping control that really elusive offense of UC Davis. That offense is really good. I'm expecting really big things from UC Davis this year. I think the secondary's got to hold on strong to those receivers. But also, that defensive line's going to have to try to get some pressure on the quarterback as quickly as possible and on the run game. So to me, the defense right now is where I would say a big key of the game is going to lie, making sure that they can try to lock it up and give their offense as many opportunities as possible.
And I think you're spot on. I think the defense is probably a little bit further ahead than the offense for the most part in fall camp. So that maybe bodes well. This is a very eye candy-esque UC Davis offense. A lot of misdirection, a lot of quick hitters. They got a lot of athletes that try to get the ball in open space. You really have to be fundamentally sound, and you better tackle well on your 111s. You better win some of those individual matchups if you're going to have some success. I'm also excited to see the battle in the trenches, Caden, because from fall camp, you and I both noticed this is a bigger, stronger offense and defensive line at Utah Tech than even last year or the year prior to that. But now you're playing the 7th team in the country. Who wins that war in the trenches? That's going to be something that's going to tell us a lot after tonight's game goes final.
Yeah, it will. I think that's a big question. And last year, that was one of the issues that Utah Tech had, was they were a little small, especially that offensive line, right? The offensive line, a lot of guys are returning, and they've put on a little bit extra weight. That's a good thing. So I'm hoping that the size matchup is going to be a little more favorable than they saw last year. But again, it's kind of one of those things that time will tell. We haven't seen any Utah Tech football, and we will in about half an hour. It's time from now.
Utah Tech pulls off the upset tonight if what happens?
That's a good question. I would say if they execute. That's a coach's answer right there. But execution is really important. That's how they got their win last season against Central Arkansas. The execution was perfect.
Yeah. Got to maybe come up with some big turnovers. Got to move the sticks. I'd like to see some explosive plays, too. We didn't really have a lot of explosive plays. That number of things have to happen to get explosive plays. So we'll see if Bronson Barbin can provide that tonight, getting the start at quarterback. But we do expect Reggie Graff to see some time and some packages there. It's going to be fun. We're going to get you out to Rod Zundel, the voice of the Trailblazers, Max Christensen III, and more pregame coverage. But for Caden Formaster, I'm Devin Dixon. Thanks for watching us here on Trailblazer Game Day. And don't go away. Blazer football coming up against UC Davis.
Hey, win on me! 103! 1, 2, 3! Fucking go!
How about that? Touchdown, Trailblazers! Touchdown, Trailblazers!
Welcome to Trailblazer Kickoff, presented by Camping World of St. George. Your next great outdoor adventure begins under the big American flag.
Let's go!
We've waited 280 days. Tonight, Trailblazer football is back. New hope, new faces for a new season. Utah Tech, UC Davis, 30 minutes away.
And welcome inside Greater Zion Stadium here on the campus of Utah Tech University. It's time for some college football. Are you ready? The Trailblazers of Utah Tech hosting UC Davis. The Aggies, Max Christensen, Rod Zundel here. UC Davis coming in. They are ranked as high as 7th in the country. They played against Mercer in the Kickoff Classic last week. They were up 23-3 in the second half, and then UC Davis kind of lost their footing a little bit. Mercer cut the lead to 23-17, but the game was called because of lightning in the fourth quarter. And we're just going to give an update. Mercer, who played UC Davis a week ago, they played Presbyterian College today at home. Mercer lost 15-10. So read into that what you will.
Yes.
Because this is a very good UC Davis football team. They played each other last year, and Utah Tech lost 32-14. This is the third meeting. They're 0-2 against the Aggies.
Yeah, and I was there for the first one. I think it was 2021 out there in Sacramento. It didn't go great for us that time either.
Yep.
So hopefully the Utah Tech can get a little bit of revenge this time.
Well, it's a nice night, about 94 degrees, going to be at kickoff. Clear skies, a beautiful evening for the home opener for Utah Tech. Now, Max, we talked about UC Davis in their game against Mercer, and what do we find out about these guys? And it all starts with the quarterback, Caden Pinnock.
Yeah, Pinnock, a very dynamic athlete. We saw that in his first ever college start down there at Mercer. He totaled 200 yards on the ground and through the air. When things break down, he really gets stuff done with his feet, a very dynamic athlete.
All right, so the Trailblazers are going to have to contend with a dual-threat quarterback. And how are they going to do that? What is the key? Because they've got some guys back, including Marley. He missed all of last year after undergoing surgery. Big number 63 is there, but he's kind of banged up tonight. He's going to be limited, but hopefully not too much because he's been itching to play after missing last year.
Yeah, Marley's a warrior. He's a fighter. So it'll be good to see big number 63 back there in the middle of the defense because that's going to be key in containing Pinnock along with the edge guys tonight, right?
Yeah, the Trailblazers brought in some run stoppers because Trailblazers gave up over 270 yards rushing per game. One of those guys right there, Utah State transfer number 8, Logan Peely, he's going to be hovering around the middle, and he thinks he can be that run stopper. And then you mentioned Dallin Havea right there.
Yeah.
The transfer out of BYU.
Yeah, and you got Will Alaveao as well, a kid who stuck around, who didn't enter the transfer portal, who's still on this Utah Tech team, number 11. A little light on the edge, but very good and effective in the pass rush game.
In the secondary for Utah Tech, Quincy LeJay, unknown last season because of an injury, he was forced into action and got a lot of respect. Started 7 games, was second on the team in tackles. Right there, number 2, Brevin Chesnicka. 6'2", 200-pounder from Northern Arizona, transfer there, big and physical. Then another big and physical guy, 6'3", 200-pounder Justin Houston out of Fresno State. They got bigger and stronger in the secondary.
I was going to say, Utah Tech got a lot bigger in the secondary.
And you know number 9, your former teammate.
Yes, sir. Devin Perkins,
yeah.
Coming back.
Yeah,
Utah Tech.
He was a Trailblazer, and then he had a brain cramp and headed north about 50 miles to play for that other team.
Yeah.
You know, the birds that aren't real thing, you know? And now he's coming back.
Yes.
And he's a load. He's good. You know all about him.
Very compact, very great athlete. So this is going to be a combination of the Trailblazers got a lot bigger on the back end, and then Devin provides that experience as well.
You saw Logan Peely there, the transfer from Utah State.
Yeah.
Now, one of his favorite football players that played in the NFL is a Hall of Famer. So he's trying to emulate the play of that Hall of Famer, but when it comes to the hairdo, Logan Peely is spot on with his idol.
Your hair reminds us of Troy Polamalu, safety with the Steelers. Is there any story behind that?
Nah, I mean, I just always wanted to grow my hair out. Wasn't allowed to when I was at BYU, so once the honor code left, I was able to grow my hair out. But nah, Troy Polamalu's always been a big idol for me. I mean, I always seen him play, but I always get that a lot. That or Jason Momoa, those are always the comparisons. But
that's not too bad, those two guys.
Yeah, true.
You know, that isn't too bad to be compared to those two guys.
No, sir. I mean, we're living in an NIL age, okay? Can we get a little head and shoulders NIL deal for this man, Peely?
Yeah. So let's talk about the Trailblazers offense, and it's got to start with their quarterbacks. They have some experience coming back, starting with Bronson Barbin, former Dixie Flyer.
Yeah, Bronson Barbin can do a lot when it comes to slinging the football, throwing it down the field. And you also got Reggie Graff. Remember, a lot of experience from last season. The kid's a dynamic athlete. He can run it. He can pass it. He can catch it as well, as he did all 3 of them in a game last season for the Trailblazers. So kind of a switch-up dual-threat quarterback if you want to pull Barbin out for a series or 2.
And both of those guys are going to play. And here's Talik Brown right there making a catch. He didn't play last year, but he's a speedster. Trailblazer expecting Deshaun Harrison. He started his career at Texas and then went to UConn, transferred. He's out. He was their fastest receiver. But then you got Shamar Garrett. He's Mr. Everything for this Trailblazer offense, number 4.
The Swiss Army knife for the Trailblazers, right? This guy can line up anywhere. He's probably going to line up everywhere tonight. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Now he might take some wildcat snaps at quarterback. The kid's a dynamic athlete. He's the most dynamic athlete.
Yeah, he
is
is.
going to roll out there for the Trailblazers tonight. You have to be able to get him touches in order to get this offense going.
The backfield, Utah Tech's, they have 4 guys, the core 4, Chris Street, Kona Crowell, Bretton Stone, and then Asa Chapman. Last year, Asa Chapman redshirted, and so they played him sparingly not to go past 4 games, showed glimpses of some impact play. He's going to start tonight. He's going to get his chance to really show what he can do, a redshirt freshman.
And that's all you want. You want the chance to be able to start, to be able to produce, to be able to get your chance. Again, like you said, he got a little taste of it last season. Now he's going to full jump into the pool and have a chance to immerse himself in this offense.
The offensive line, they're bringing a lot of guys back, but they're banged up a little bit. They're going to start 2 freshmen. Justin Enna from Utah State transfer, and then Dallin Johnson, a BYU transfer. Both of those guys went to college as defensive linemen. Now they moved over to the offensive side. How difficult will that be?
It's a little bit difficult because, again, you have to manage, holding penalties. You have to manage moving your feet, a gap scheme, zone scheme, do all those types of things. I played for Justice Enna's dad, Justin Enna, when he was the defensive coordinator here, so I know Justice is tough.
Yeah.
You cannot question the toughness, and so to be able to provide that, he might have a little bit of inexperience up front, but be able to counter that with the toughness, to be able to get those guys going, that'll be the key.
All right, well, this is a culmination tonight of a full month of battling the hot temperatures and practices, hitting each other. Now they get to hit somebody else. So now let's take a moment and look back on the sights and sounds of fall camp.
I love the first day of fall camp. I mean, there is so much energy out here. Get it!
Every day, we eating everything up for sure. Yeah.
Good. I like it.
That right there. Yep. Don't be thinking too much.
But I love it when you go inside because these tackles are bailing on you.
Let's see.
Yeah. Oh yeah! I see you, see! Woo! We are a better team today than we were last Saturday. 1, 2, 3.
And you know this is what you work for. You know, all those hours you put in, not just out on the field sweating like a dog, but in the classroom, the study sessions, the film sessions, and now they get to hit somebody else. And now this is where the fun is.
Rod, let me tell you something. Fall camp is the worst thing about college football. Okay, it's 3 hellish weeks. All right, everybody, you see all the clips of fights that happen in training camp and fall camp. Why are these guys fighting? They're on the same team. It's because you have to line up against the same guy every single day, talking about your mom, talking about your sister. You run out of things to say to the guy, so you just punch him in the face. Okay. So it's great. Everybody has a lot of pent up energy. Great to line up against somebody who you don't know, a different colored jersey. And it's going to be electric. That's the best part, is being able to, fall camp's the worst part about college football, but it creates the best memories and the camaraderie and the team building. Hopefully we see that tonight for the Trailblazers.
You have no problem talking.
No.
And expressing yourself. So what was some of your best trash talking to your teammates?
A lot of that, will violate FCC policies if I utter that during this program. But yeah, a lot of it, because you get to know guys.
Yeah.
And so you get real personal and you get real in there. But again, it's a lot of fun. It builds camaraderie.
Yeah.
It builds team. And you got to be a little bit crazy to play football in general, even more crazy to play defense like I did.
Max Christensen, mark off crazy. Yeah, there you go. All right, there you see the Greater Zion Stadium crowd filling up. They've had the tailgate across the street. So opening night festivities, we're about ready to get underway, about a little over 15 minutes away from kickoff. UC Davis, number 7 in the country in the national rankings in the FCS class. And Trailblazers 1-11 last year. Second-year head coach Lance Anderson wants to turn that around. No better way than to pull off the upset tonight against the Aggies. Back with more of Trailblazer Kickoff after this.
If you haven't seen Utah Tech University lately, chances are you haven't seen it at all. With hands-on polytechnic learning across 300 academic programs, 30 new and renovated state-of-the-art facilities, the most affordable university tuition in the state, and 300 days of sunshine. Why look anywhere else? Discover why Utah Tech was recently named one of Education Magazine's 10 prominent universities and colleges to watch. Join us and experience the active learning, active life difference at Utah Tech.
All right, back here in Greater Zion Stadium, counting down the moments till kickoff. Utah Tech season opener and home opener against the 7th-ranked Aggies of UC Davis. Rod Zundel, Max Christensen here. And Max, coming off a 1-11 year, full month in the heat in these fall practices, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of mental toughness to get after it and say, okay, you know what? We've got to turn things around. How is that when you know you've got to change it? And they brought in a lot of players to do that, so the expectations a little bit more, but still a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. Bringing in players who match the culture, right? There was a lot of overhaul on this roster. A lot of guys who stayed, a lot of guys who stuck around, who I think this team's a good combination of Coach Anderson at the top, guys who stuck around, who had that really bad taste of 1-11, and bringing in guys who didn't experience that to mess them all together and be able to push through to a better season. Because when you're able to ingratiate guys who didn't experience that 1-11, they don't have that sour taste.
Yeah.
They're starting fresh. It's 0-0. Yeah. And it's 0-0 for all these guys, including Coach Anderson coming up this season. So that'll be a good way to be able to reset, start over, start anew.
Everybody wants to get bigger, stronger, and faster, but the Trailblazers had to do that. They were pushed around at times last year. They needed to get thicker so they would not get pushed around. And so we talked about Will Alaveo on the left edge, the edge rusher, and they brought in Dallin Havea, a transfer from BYU on the right. They got Leighton Tonavasa back, and then Marley back. Hopefully those two guys will be able to go. But then Logan Peely, the transfer linebacker from Utah State, and then Bresnan Chesnicka, and then Justin Houston, the transfers from Northern Arizona and Fresno State. They say, we got to get more physical, more physical, more physical. You combine those with Jay Sweeten, a local kid out of St. George, Quincy LeJay. I think they are going to get more physical, and Coach Anderson talks about this. We have improved. Is that going to turn into wins or not? I don't know, and that's the key. That's the question.
Yes, and I think the biggest question mark and key for this team, we kind of mentioned a little bit, going to be the offensive line.
Yeah.
Can they be physical? All right? Because the defense played pretty well last season.
Yeah.
And there were stretches where there was 3-and-outs, stopping teams, forcing punts, but the offense just couldn't get it going. A lot of missed blocks, a lot of unsustained blocks. We saw a lot of plays where it was block one dude.
Yeah.
It's a touchdown. And they weren't able to hold up. So can this offensive line specifically provide the physicality that is needed? Brought in a new offensive line coach this season.
Ron Hudson, and they're really working on hands and technique because he said their heads were down when they were blocking last year, and we saw that they weren't able to hold the blocks, and if they'd have held up for a beat longer, touchdown.
Can't play football when you're on the ground.
True.
Okay, there were some times I was on the ground and I realized, not in a great position right here. Okay,
maybe you got a 350-pounder on you.
It's like
slobbering all over you.
And again, talking about my mom and whispering about my sister in my ear as we're wrestling there on the ground.
Yeah.
So being able to stay up, stay on your feet, be an athlete, but also perform and execute at a level of physicality that is required.
Yeah.
Because the Trailblazers, they aren't playing cupcakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, you brought it up. 7th-ranked UC Davis, Northern Arizona in Flagstaff next week. They're ranked in the top 20. Then they go to Idaho, who's ranked in the top 15. All those guys made it to the quarterfinals and the second round of the playoffs last year.
Yes.
So 5 of the opponents this year are ranked in the top 15.
Yes, and it is just no weeks off.
No.
And then you go into conference as well. You look at the conference slate.
Charleston State. They beat Army yesterday in double overtime.
The first FCS beating an FBS team this year.
Yeah.
All right. And they got the quarterback and the offense and everybody who will address when they come to town. But again, these guys this week, and then just looking forward to Northern Arizona, who again might not be ranked. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I was on the team. We went up there to the Dome and fortunately won.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
you forced 5 turnovers, a couple of touchdowns defensively.
And the difference up there is we're at 2,800 feet above sea level. Okay.
Yeah.
6,000 feet
Yeah.
above sea level is Flagstaff. Let me tell you, Rod, as somebody who's over 300 pounds, the air gets a little thin up there in Flagstaff.
I wouldn't know.
so that's going to be a battle in and of itself, even though they might not be a ranked team the Trailblazers are going to face.
Trailblazers only they're like 1-17 all time against Big Sky opponents. Okay, tonight UC Davis, member of the Big Sky.
Yeah.
Next week Northern Arizona, member of the Big Sky.
Yep.
The following week at Idaho, member of the Big Sky. Next year, we're going to be members of the Big Sky. So, and we haven't even talked about that.
Yes.
So this is kind of a building step to really hit the ground running next year in the Big Sky, which is a very stable conference, and they're a heck of a football conference. Montana State, they got thumped by Oregon today, but they've been in the championship game last year. Montana was in the quarterfinals. So, we're setting up to a big-time move next year to going in the Big Sky, and it's going to be fun. At least the Trailblazer fans now will know where the teams hail from, what city they are, instead of some of the other teams. Like, nobody knows where Eastern Kentucky is from here, or Central Arkansas.
Yes, and it makes the travel a little bit better for the Trailblazers as well. And, I mean, you talked about it. The Big Sky Conference, it's legit. Teams at the top of the conference are putting guys in the NFL.
Yeah. And you know what? The WAC was so amazing to us because they took us in when we needed them. The WAC was unbelievably amazing. And then the UAC, Eastern Kentucky didn't want to come out west, and North Alabama didn't want to come out west. And so now they won't have to come here.
Yeah.
We won't have to go there. It's more of a regional rivalry. But, the WAC was a godsend to us. I mean, they were so good to us. and it's such a blessing to be a member of the Western Athletic Conference and then turning into the UAC, because the UAC has some great football teams too.
Oh, yeah.
And when they go next year and combine the WAC and UAC together, they're going to have a great football and basketball season too. So
100%.
All right, so we talked about Shamar Garrett. He's the playmaker, going to be an H-back, a running back, a receiver, and all that. But he has another talent. Let's get to know Shamar Garrett just a little bit better in this edition of Trailblazer Tales.
My name is Shamar Garrett from Livermore, California, senior wide receiver, running back, kick return, punt returner at Utah Tech University. I grew up in Livermore, California. I have 3 older siblings. I'm the youngest, 2 brothers and 1 sister. I actually go by Scooty. And it's a nickname that comes from my grandma back in youth football. She used to run up and down the sideline as I'm running for a touchdown and screaming, "Scooter, Scooter, Scooter, Scooter." And then the Scooty came from my auntie, just to put a little cuter spin on it. I started playing football when I was 4. I actually thought I was going to play basketball, but my kindergarten teacher brought me a flyer, and it was for our Livermore youth football little league, and fell in love with it ever since. And then out of high school, I was blessed with the opportunity to go to San Jose State. In 2023, I entered the transfer portal, got picked up to come here, and I've been taking advantage of the opportunity ever since. Some hobbies that I like to do outside of football, I am pretty boring, but I would say I like to draw. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually sketched out most of my tattoos on my body. And it's just a great peace of mind for me to keep my head relaxed and level-headed.
Man, and not only a talent on the football field, but with the sketch pad as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Not bad. I mean, I have a couple tattoos as well, but I definitely didn't draw them myself. And, I like the fact he's talented, got the tattoos. Rod, I'm more jealous about the hairdo. Okay? That kid's got a full head of hair.
You're just jealous that he has and you have not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got enough hair to give some to me.
I remember one of your last games, you said, when I retire, I want to learn how to play the cello.
Yes.
And? Okay, that's a no.
I haven't started that one yet.
All right, countdown to kickoff continues here at Greater Zion Stadium. The final word from the head coach when we come back.
If you haven't seen Utah Tech University lately, chances are you haven't seen it at all. With hands-on polytechnic learning across 300 academic programs, 30 new and renovated state-of-the-art facilities, the most affordable university tuition in the state, and 300 days of sunshine, why look anywhere else? Discover why Utah Tech was recently named one of Education Magazine's 10 prominent universities and colleges to watch. Join us and experience the active learning, active life difference at Utah Tech.
All right, just a little over 10 minutes away from kickoff. Home opener, season opener for Utah Tech. UC Davis, the Aggies in town. UC Davis ranked number 7 in one poll in the FCS rankings and number 8 in the other. UC Davis played last week in the FCS Kickoff Classic against Mercer. That was in Alabama. It was 95% humidity with 90-degree temperatures, and they were cramping up a lot. And they had a 23-3 lead over Mercer. In the fourth quarter, they came back to cut the lead to 23-17, and they called the game because of lightning. So Mercer was ranked 11th in the country. However, this afternoon, Mercer, in their stadium, they lost to Presbyterian College 15-10. So what can you read into it? You don't want to read into it because every team is different, matchups and all that. But we thought that was a pretty dominant showing over an 11th ranked team. Maybe not so much now that they lost at home to an unranked team.
Yeah, you can read this in really different ways, right? It is okay. They had such a weird game against UC Davis. They show up this week again, playing a much lesser opponent in Presbyterian College. You let your foot off the gas. We've seen this over and over and over, and they can come in and squeak out a win.
Kind of the same scenario UC Davis is facing right now here at St. George.
It could be, yes. Or you look at it and you're like, hey, was Mercer the 11th ranked team in the nation to start this season? Maybe not.
Maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you can take it two different ways.
But Trailblazer fans, These guys are good. UC Davis is really good. They were 11. They had 11 wins last year.
Yeah.
That was a school record. Made it to the quarterfinals of the playoffs. They had a guy, quarterback Miles Hastings, made a CFL team, but then decided to retire. And then they had a running back, Lars Larison, that was a leading receiver and leading rusher. And he signed on with the Patriots, but then broke his foot. So, all right, time now for the final word with head coach Lance Anderson. Get his thoughts about the upcoming game with the Aggies. Here's Coach Anderson.
Coach, you ready?
We're ready. It's time, and we've had enough time going against each other. I mean, our guys are ready to play somebody else.
What do you feel really good about going into Saturday?
You know, I feel like we are improved. I feel like we are more athletic. Still very curious to see how we match up against a really good team like UC Davis, but I am ready to find out, ready to watch us play football and see where we are.
Compare where you're at now compared to your first go at it last year at this time.
You know, we're definitely ahead. We got a lot of great teams on the schedule. I'm still not sure exactly how we're going to match up, but I know we're better. I know we're stronger, we're more physical, we're a more athletic team. I think we got a little bit more depth. But still, just curious to see how we match up against some good football teams.
Exactly. What are we going to see from this team compared to what we saw last year?
You know, offensively, we're hoping to be a little more physical up front, a little bit more ability to run the football, better protection for our quarterbacks, and hopefully that gives us time, you know, to get the ball to our playmakers' hands and let them make some plays. Defensively, we have to tackle better. We have to stop the run better. And I know we've improved in those areas. So, you know, the big test is going to see it whether or not we can do it against a good football team like UC Davis.
And UC Davis, you saw them last week. We've talked about it before. You've had a lot of film. They haven't had film on you.
Yeah, not this year for sure. Obviously, we played them last year. They're a very good football team, very well coached, very well balanced. They return every starter on the offensive line. They're good defensively. They got the Connors brothers from Pleasant Grove that are outstanding football players. So it's going to be a real challenge for us. They're a good football team.
This is why you got in the business.
That's
for
exactly
nights like this.
That's exactly right. I mean, we're playing one of the best teams in FCS football. That's where we strive to be. So it's going to be a good measuring stick for us on a Saturday night.
Yeah, Coach Anderson mentioned the Connor brothers, Porter and Rex. They're twins. They're out of Pleasant Grove High School. Coach Anderson, when he was a defensive coordinator at Stanford, he was recruiting those two guys to go to Stanford, but didn't know if they were ready for Pac-12 football, but he knows how good they are because he wanted them on his team. So Rex Connors is the Big Sky preseason Defensive Player of the Year nominee, and he had 12 tackles in 3.5 quarters. Probably would have had 15 to 18 tackles if they had played a full game Saturday. All right, keys to tonight's game for Utah Tech. Let's start with offense.
Offense, finish drives. Finish drives, and I think finish blocks as well. Again, we talked about it already. Maintain some blocks, but yeah, they went on some drives last season, but were not able to punch it in the end zone. Touchdowns over field goals, going to give you a chance.
Defense.
Contain Pinnock. Don't let him run around. Don't let him run all over the field, get going, and stop the run. The Trailblazers gave up, 275 yards a game?
271 yards a game rushing last year.
That's not going to win you a whole bunch of football games if you're not able to do that. Football is still won and lost in the trenches. I don't care what anybody says.
Spoken like a true dog. All right, dude. You and I on ESPN Plus. Devin Dixon, Paul Ratliff over on the Fan Sports Radio Network will have the call of this game tonight. Home opener, season opener, Utah Tech and UC Davis. We are about 4 or 5 minutes away from kickoff. Should be a fun one. Let's get the upset to start off the season, right, Max?
Yes, sir.
All right, Trailblazers, Aggies, coming up. We'll see you on ESPN Plus, and then after the game for our Trailblazer postgame show.